10 of the Tipperary team this evening started in last year's All-Ireland hurling final against Kilkenny. Clonalty Rossmore's John O'Keefe gets a late call-up at corner-back and operates beside James Barry and Michael Cahill. Mullinahone Sean Curran partners Michael Breen in the middle of the field, while in attack Niall O'Mara is past fit to play. The forward line looks awesome, with the McGrath brothers, Bubbles O'Dwyer and Seamus Callanan, all starting tonight. Kilkenny manager Brian Cody calls up Shane Prendergast and gives him the number 6 jersey instead of the injured Kieran Joyce. Liam Blanchfield and Alan Murphy get into the first 15. But take a close look at the Kilkenny half-forward line. Richie Hogan, TJ Reid and Colin Fennelly are at number 10, 11 and 12 in what is easily the Cats' strongest line. Crucial area will be centre field, where Paddy Deegan and Killian Buckley are selected. Great atmosphere here in Thurles, I must say, around the town and indeed around Semple Stadium. Pumping it in high. Testing ball. Seamus Callanan underneath it. The sticks are flying. Ball! First goal. The Premier County mean business. Ball inside the Kilkenny never dealt with. Unusual mistake by right corner back Paul Murphy, and in nips John McGrath here, pulled it first time into the net. Kilkenny go back into the attack here.
Winnig Seamus Callanan.
Paul Murphy Martin, Raycon and Puxy or Shawwilla. Gimmers hard bar. All stern of Blina Shakatsa or Noi, I say. I just thought better go check on Keane and St. Ross. The whole stern of Blina Shakatsa will Tamil Silla run over on Chashin. Can Milchak father touch Mele Hool. This is a lack of Jenny Michael Breen. This Glantamachi the Tipperary, Toshi there on see. The George Chasing School Baker Hunchop. Paul Murphy shot thrust out the bottom Jenny Murphy Joe will chancing McGrath. Lahu Kotse. Toshi was got thrust now. There's some cool scorers. John McGrath. Neil Nomad Hain Kotse. August so cool scorers. Tipperary. Rudnach Vector O'Vinnick. Bottom Jenny Paul Murphy and Risha Girin Stitter Ordo. August are Dira McGrath and out cart. Shocks the rule. She can lavish she's the Porrick Welch. Marjoram and the Zon of his into. Darmoni was big hits a good core a shin goal slitter done now against. Won't you rest on Hain by Sega Imrory Hain. Isn't sure of shot fortunately Dan McCormack, Dan a buller, hitting off a clay, putting a hauling at Dan McCormack. Kate Cooley to Bedoran, but she took Richie's command though. He'll call the scorer in Urchin or Dan a hook shashin Gabro. Long over. It's Hurling Alan Arnold talking about a little long tussle. Let's get given this month with Pork Vince own Gimmers Communic. Pork Mahardol Sheerington, Robert Tagadas. Shell watching try TJ Reid, TJ Banner spoke TJ. Oh, cold on the shades going TJ Reid. You're a dinner no Jory Sulishin. Morsha Hans. Kisha Harter. Och meter Deogamach. Well, by the 3 meter Deogamach was Rasper shot. Nero chance. With Darmoni. Ryan Hole scores to Kilkenny River Noch. Tachanish. Thought Kenny took scores to Akka. On atmosphere in Trohog is on Highlands. One of Maharichan Titchy on the lack. Cora Tomas Hamill. John O'Keefe is Slachto Suasanish. Blair Trasta. One Mahar Pascal Porrick, Oscar Porrick the goalie, Tagan Torfi score. Canmore Mitchell Father Porrick Mahar Auguston. Captain Richard Cantor Gorhara Traston. Undole Vince the Colini and Chinchashaw Inspirator. And Vince Sample Elle. Sor Holin Eg Porrick Mahar. Bush is using Hamel reached. Timothy Nuncy of the British Shachan with Skippy. Agus a button Elegenta, Agus Johan Chance. Oh, pass all in his shot, Dino O'Mara, O'Mara, Gary Shock, O'Mara, Girty with Sugan Gola. Achel Gretzo, Dundara Ur, Top Button Jensen, and Mass Cousins Kilkenny. There's Niall O'Mara, one third for Aston Kane. Pass Alling, Stach, Guzzi O'Mara, was fair for a Greer. Time Murphy Risha Gretzo. Blockhalse. Wat TJ Nish. TJ Harragolan, Tan Cantry, Titson, and Mele Hole, Lugstan, Costner Shear, Titson and Tossach. Took Traska Cool, give us on. Alan Murphy, Hurling against. Shoggan Arishta. Hicks Murphy, and this for Devon. It's Puck Eric give us on. Puck Eric at top, Bruntha, Egg James Owens, right to Lauriston and Weir. TJ Reid. Mahaka. Goes Evan Tasha Harboraka near Wog Daramoni, Marni Akata Slitter, Hoshim Pilishin. Zero to the strip from Gula, to Brandon Easter. Raw full score, it's a TJ, August Kilkenny Nocht. An of Nachtogan, the Conda Hesha, Kylins, Ian Tuchter Loch Fechana. Torik Welch shot to Machin, non colleague, Glantamaha Gashud, Traston the Porket. Hamel is in the mat, Leach the Himmer and Chatter Jakacha. Shingaji Sean Curran, be Sean a Titsum and Jen nach Fos. Touring in and Schlitter, Idder and Dorhul, it was Harry Traston. It was score Ele Fortsek. 3 hole in at the reach Dillon. For her of Loon and her Wuchan Canchan. Roland Mahergold Traston, we Wuchan and Walter Welch. And vertical Lauder. Watch a Killian Buckley, Buckley for Ruin, pass Lava McAfee Walter. Brian Walter, Eric Struck, that we Bulldog Walter. Congo Contagion on Hulling, Watch a Walter Welch and Chin. Kaidan score on her bar of father, Zegla Hammer, Kerry Hulling, Aris Bar, Egg, the Tipperary and Shaw. On Murphy, Macher hitting another clay. Market of a slow brown chop. Was King Kerryvillier, but a cool Villier and chop. Ur. Lord, we found a reward to Hain, fresh that. Now, how much you truly Kayles, come off in Amsters, come off in Amgam Vlian, Killing Buckley, Dr. Chin, Agasard score for Killing Buckley. Top Buckley, Gimmer to Mahanocht, and Paris coming Dixborough, and Gahar Kilkenny. Near Machin and John O'Keefe, and this Skultse and Bo Hula. Barry Chen was in past Macher at here. I'm going to turn on here to Vass. Pass all in Trasta in the park. Oh, what was she? Huberta Cup. Niall Mara Trasta. G. Macher Chin. John McGrath is or the hauling or John O'Dwyer beyond. Shudder McGrath. McGrath Costa Shachta. Chance again the goalie. Otskills. But she Butcher McGrath. Butcher hauling. Egg John McGrath. Beidir an tosach as fire, the Sra Alliance to be in a shot, Gajisha. Good to pass Garrett and Chinner, former Gra Chasser Jack. This Queen Zirach Atra. Queen in the name, Clifford Concept to Dorn, with Evan Thought, but not Blian on a Halchi Clifford, the Richie Hoganish, Richie Kuhns again, Lahak, Neil Richie, Hock Kuhns at Darla. On score Forza and Steel and Tishin Egg Richie. Can fair or the Crumman Chesties, but on the Vincha Bull and Slitter. Ach, near Horncheshin is Jachar Hornis. Afak Elliton and Skill Intach. TJ really got Trasta in the park, pass all in Trasta. Colin Fenley, Nick Ronchell of Colts. Colin, Mad shot to Jakacha, kind of push and score. She Hoganich is the cancer boss. Oh, Bullinger Cola, Nish. Blanchfield shot to Ording Blanchfield. Mickey Carrick shot to Road. Torek Maher shot fast to Blanchfield, took it on Tallow, Nish. Ken Kennevesig, James Owens, took Erika Elle, and Doris Shantig, TJ Reid. There's no Vishig Blanchfield. Yeah, well, is there Cahill August Torrick Maher, Mish, for Shan Kanzer, no Lay, Congo Cantra. Yes, August is shot the goal. August reached near Ward Daramoni. Arnie Akashan Shutterson, it gets his Harris. He took Erika Wool. Hybrids into Agonic shot, August is Gobber Gob. On the ground. Hashemas Callan, Hashemas on Congo, Ganta Bultige, Bertzige, rest up, Buck Falls, Callan Nani should have got out of fast on, cooling into the Callan. Hustle Shekka for over, Chimney Rimmershe, the Hawk, the Garash and Ocht, and his on score, Fots and Chinnegag, they few hunger completely in it. If we check the market, Timothy Oren, it's in the free different Keen Reach, TJ Reid, Tredman Gantron. She fought Richie Branner's Brook, Shinamay doing the test dollar Richie, Lahekent, Lahorloch, August Colin, Elle, Ian Tuck fought Egg Richie Hogan. Van Cheshire, Lahekent and Bolora. Reached Elle, she'd call him and chop. Reaching a bush of Shears, Jason Clear got Shear, from Bergen. To the Calvinish foot, Canoling on Cantos on his dogs, Canoling Elle, watching Seamus Calvin. Of the reached Elle, Tibbledorn Slowney from Tussa. Kite on the Himmer and knocked her ball fod on Daurin. Because the hammer is fear on of Nachmin, Ivan's got Scott after. Mooney tacht. Mission Federal Kilkenny Torrent or Ashgorham. Will cool Ellen, he vexed out the Vacatorlo job. Paddy Deegan. He put it on his reach. Faker Hogan, Rugsher, his shin. Rugsher was Costig and Amkane, was his shin. Horrid fast on, cooling Eater. Furnish up a simply a bin score. Doch Retze Egrichi Hogan. Wilson, Vision, Tolo Vinnick, the boss Carter going to phone it. James Kennedy, Chachtanish. Leach and I, Fort Lauriger, put the Schachtan in. He's a Barker Brana. You're trying to brush your stick. As he said, John McGrath, Gary the goal. So well into Greg Murphy. Cannon the shot, Cannon the Tarrant, Chuckers, Cannon the Reeve, the love of Jesse. We had Nover, like Tibbledorn. It's real cool. On towards like Murphy. Cool fun score Calnan. You have Vinnick Colin Calnan just Marshin. Tashi Focha Kelly Buckley, Tasha Lauder the top, Tashanta Colin the Buckley, Basha Sauce to the Colin, Basha Sauce to the Colin. I was in a shit kill Hunya. Without any Tossa and Jock. You're a dinner better towards more on chance to kill Hunya. Moodini Kappa could be the Tipperary and a taction. Sour responses on the quits and off to Marolet. Need she the min night. Took him on his sugar set. Well, Shell of Harva, Tow took a Johanish. So that's Stephen O'Brien. Nisha Wadishti. And Ferris Bill and Ohan, Teledor, Ilin Gear, Toshi Butchik O'Brien, Toshi Butchik, Creedic Stephen O'Brien, Butcha Harrit Trasnon. Corum a reached Elle. Ni Federic Oscar on Michele. Let's kick her up. Jeffrey Brew. He shot to one in. It's a Hummersega and catching the inner. Ryan Farrett. Took Schlassenish. They did make Jeshua on Elle. If you butchers Chach and Trin knocked on Adog, you're not straight to James Owens and Shaw. Sore Highlands, those shocked of each other, 3 cards up, a Kilkenny.
Inis Tommy chun fechan siar na bóg faintí ó Forky Vorga ar air. Thug líis aig limanach an trachtar a bhí an doinge ná Mícheál Drisláid.
Trishan lace for leash and tucked and got a beshit as soon as the spontaneous.
Breathes a sigh of relief. It ends level in Simple Stadium. Tipperary 217, Kilkenny 314.
The second half was just, it was to and fro. It was day with day, a couple of points for lead, I think, for a while, and we came back into it, point in it. Both teams, good scores, both teams missed chances as well. Either team could have nicked it in the end, but it was a draw and either team lost. So look, it was a very, very decent game, I'd say.
The draw for both sides is a very fair result, but I thought, to be fair, both sides came to win that game and really, really tried hard, and it was end to end. We had mistakes, they had mistakes, we had some great scores on both sides. I thought it was just a great game of hurling, played on a Saturday night in March. What more could you ask for?
Yeah, nothing to separate them last night, of course. I think we're going to have to wait for a further instalment later on in the year. And I suppose the way, gentlemen, that this thing has all panned out, the first couple of games of the league campaign, losses for Kilkenny, everybody says, oh, they're gone or whatever. And needless to say, a couple of weeks later, it's a different story.
Yeah, we've been here before with Kilkenny and been written off earlier in the year, and there's always this thing in the tail with Kilkenny, and last night was the first real evidence of that. I was up there last night.
Yeah.
Their body language, their intensity, their attitude, things that Brian had really prided themselves on. It was really evident last night, and they were very, very, very good right across the field, the whole 15, the guys that came in. But really the big leaders for Kilkenny stepped up last night.
And I suppose also, Shawnee, the fact that this was a rematch of the All-Ireland Championship team, of course, but as well as that, the fact that it was a draw still leaves us kind of in the open about the whole thing.
It leaves it in a melting pot, doesn't it?
It does, still, yeah.
It was magnificent stuff, Michael. It was just a pitch, I'd say, below a championship. I mean, from the first minute right up to the last minute and the levelling score at the end. It was a marvellous contest. 15,000, a great advertisement for the game.
Sure.
And great individual skills on show as well. Not just about the team, about John McGrath and fellas that we'll show here later, doing exceptional things in the game. It was a great, great spectacle. Really enjoyable night.
Oh, no, it absolutely was. You mentioned John McGrath. You have been looking just exactly at this tip attack and how they set up.
Yeah, I have been, and this tip attack, there was 9 different scores last night, so there was a broad range. Their movement, their scores, how they linked up. It was really a joy to see and to be at the match and see it. But we have a few snippets here of actually how they link up, and central to it all is this man, John McGrath. Here's a long ball into the edge of the square, right in on Pádraig Welsh and Seamus Canavan. The ball breaks in behind. Paul Murphy goes, the ball breaks again. And watch when you see a little pirouette here from John McGrath, so instinctive. And that was a great start from within the first couple of minutes. Great goal. Here we are again, another ball in. Paul Murphy out in front. But watch this for skill out of John McGrath. He's just watching there, he's lurking. And if we just forward it on ever so slightly, watch the reaction here, picks it, and he's gone. He's gone straight away. And what's he doing? He's looking to create, looking to take on the Kilkenny defence and heading straight for goal. And as he does, he sees out the corner of his eye John O'Dwyer with a lovely little hand pass here off. And the easy thing here is a score, and a natural thing to do, Shawnee, would be to take the score here.
Yeah, and I think in that instance, Jackie, good players would take the handy score, but I think the difference between the good and the great player is looking up. A bit of vision, seeing a man on the outside. I don't think this was something that just happened. It looked rehearsed, because you can see O'Mara here, he's got his hand up, he wants it. He's not just ghosting in there, he wants to pass. And as we see the play develop, and it is a fantastic pass, straight in, to the hand to hand, not along the ground. He continues his movement in one go, and a brilliant finish into the corner, a super goal.
Yeah. I suppose Kilkenny won't be happy in that particular sequence with the standard of defending either.
No, they won't, and here's another ball. The ball was breaking around, but watch this for skill from John McGrath. 1 touch. 2 touch, and he has the vision. He sees out the corner of his eye Niall O'Mara, who's always supporting. Now Niall slips, but look at that, has the vision once again. He sees tearing in Dan McCormack, and as a defender, a hard thing to do, a guy coming at momentum, and Dan is supporting right on, takes it, and what does he do? Breaks 2-3 tackles, and off the left-hand side over the bar. And at this stage, Tipperary really had a foothold in the game, and they were driving on. And here's just a beautiful piece of skill. Once again, that man, John McGrath, ball to the square, breaks. Look how quick he's on it again, flicks it up into his hand, and beautiful, quick little look up, flick across the bubbles of the wire. a volley. Now, nothing came from it in the end, but that just shows the confidence that they have. And, you know, I haven't seen a volley like that from maybe Shawnee. Shawnee's there, which is not today or yesterday.
I'd have missed as well, Jackie. But it is a great bit of individual skill, and it's what hurling is about. They're on about games getting so structured. It's great to see individual brilliance like that.
Oh, yeah. And I suppose the other thing, again, going back to the fact this game was a draw in Thurles last night, that says a lot about Kilkenny as well, and how they responded to the situation.
Absolutely, Michael. I mean, they were 2-7 to 1-2 down at one stage. Like, they showed they needed leaders to come to the table, and none more so than the likes of here, TJ Reid. What an exceptional player. He's been doing it for a number of years now, and that wasn't by chance, Jackie. That was placed right into the top corner. I thought this fella was unbelievable all night. Half-back, all-star, and has just seamlessly gone into the midfield zone. In fairness to Liam Blanchfield, he worked hard. But again, coming onto the ball, that's what we're coached as young players. Come onto the ball, win it and score it. And a huge tackle. Jack would have been delighted with that one himself. Great score. And showed composure then to get the score after a huge tackle from Ronan Maher, who's no slouch himself.
No.
And Walter Walsh was one of those players last night that really stood up. I like him. I think over the last couple of years he stepped into that leadership position that the likes of Shefflin has left behind. He's turning into a fabulous hurler.
All right, lads, thanks very much for that. OK, we have a break coming up here on the programme right now. But in the next part of Alliance League Sunday, we will be heading south. That is